This hot, this the spot. There it is, pod.com. We're interviewing the best comedians, so tune in quick and get your ears receiving them. We talking about life and laughter stream right to you, from the microphone right to your home, dude. Side note, this might get embarrassing, but no, don't sweat, yo, cause there it is.
Welcome to the There It Is podcast, a podcast for comedic creators of any variety.
God.
I'm your host, Jason Farr. Let's do this. You've already heard my current guest for the episode because...
I thought you were going to say current girlfriend.
No, current guest, because she said, oh my God, because I said...
Comedic.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say it that way. So thanks for making fun of me. And I'm not gonna cut it out.
Okay, great.
It's gonna be in there, and everyone's gonna know
this
that.
This is real life.
Yeah, everyone's gonna know how Justina treats me. I am here with my girlfriend Justina, who's also a comedian, and we are here in Charleston for the Charleston Comedy Fest with Alchemy Comedy Theater. And if you want to check out previous episodes, you can do that on SoundCloud and on iTunes. And you can read up on those previous episodes on thereitispod.com. Each episode has its own blog, and there are other blogs on there as well that you can check out. Yep, thank you. And join the discussion on social media, Twitter and Facebook at thereitispod. You can find me at Jason Farr Jokes. Well, as I mentioned, we are in Charleston for the Charleston Comedy Fest. And we've already had a great time. Like, if we left this morning, I think we would have had a fulfilled weekend because it's been a lot of fun. And there are a lot of us here. So the team that's performing is what's called the Local Legends team out of the Alchemy Comedy Theater in Greenville, South Carolina, which you've heard me talk about if you've heard previous episodes. And I'm on that team, and like 7 or 8 of us on that team. And our plus ones are here in large part. And so it's a big group that's here. It's the first time we've had a group this size. Last year, I think we only had like 7 or 8. Now it's kind of like 13 or something like that. And we're having a great time. Everyone's really enjoying themselves. We had our team is not performing until tonight, but we did get to enjoy shows and get to perform ourselves last night. Mm-hmm. Both Justina and I performed on the jam that was at Theater 99. But before that, we saw a show. We got into town. We went around downtown, lovely downtown Charleston, which I'm sure you've heard of before and are familiar with Stephen Colbert being from here and him talking about it. And when he ran for president of the United States of South Carolina, I think that was how he worded it. He came here, and I think he also campaigned for his sister who lives here and ran for office. And anyway, that's Charleston, great city. We got to enjoy the city, and then we saw a show at Theater 99. There are several different locations that they're utilizing for the Comedy Fest, but we saw Buzz Off Lucille, an excellent sketch team out of UCB, and it has one of there it is previous guests, Molly Gaby. She is one of the 4 people on that team. It's 4 women doing an amazing show. Super, super funny. I told them after the show that I thought every sketch was just, the tone of it was perfect. It was just really a really solid show.
Yeah, it was awesome. They were all playing guys. For every sketch, they were just women playing guys, and it was hilarious.
It was super funny, yeah. Yeah, and they start off the show saying, and just so you know...
We love men.
Yeah, we love men. Bit. Some of our dads are men. You know, something like that. Like, made the joke out of it. Because they are playing men in this, and they're sort of lampooning, I guess, not necessarily guyisms, but... wrong things that only men do.
Yeah.
And so that's what the show's about. And I told them also, like, I don't even know if you need that We Love Men thing, because the stuff that they're making fun of are the right things to make fun of. Like, a couple of them are serious things.
But I think that whole bit is like women, it's like kind of making fun of how women, in quotation marks, have to apologize for,
Fair, yeah. And she was saying, yeah, I told Molly about that, and she said that they've kind of changed the opening different times, and I think they do need to play with that. And I think you make a good point of that. They're making another in-joke in doing that. So I think that's great. I do think that if any guy was offended by that show, then they needed to be offended because, the first thing is about like a joke about consent and, or lack thereof. And then there were also sketches like the sketch about microbrewing, which was a hilarious sketch, but it was a lighthearted sketch, right? Yeah. Like they're poking fun at fair things to poke fun at. And either it's because, hey, we're just ribbing you, this isn't a bad thing, like the microbrewing sketch, or like, here's something that really needs to be said and pointed out. And I think that's what was so great about the show is that it didn't take itself too seriously. It made a lot of great comedy out of valid points and fun points. And I think if you're doing comedy, that's the way to do it. Like, that's the right way to approach it.
Yeah, they did great.
Super fun show. I was glad I got to talk to them and meet them after the show. And I, of course, already knew Miley, and it was great to see Miley again. And she's super fun and sweet.
Yeah.
So then after that, we went to grab a bite. And
yeah, but before that, also in that show was Grandpa telling about the good old days, that improv group.
Oh, gosh, yes, out of Atlanta. I don't know Tim's last name, but Matt... both out of, Tim is out of Los Angeles, but he's been in Atlanta at Dad's Garage, which you've heard Dad's Garage mentioned in the Mark Kendall episode or the Amber Nash episode, if you listen to those. And so these two were great. They were super fun. They did improv. They didn't do sketch, but it was, the structure was somebody was playing grandpa and the other person was just, the grandson getting advice. And it was a fun show. They have fun together, and they are strong improvisers, and I really enjoyed seeing them. And then, so after that show, we got to play with some of these people. Justina.
Yeah, the All-Star Jam.
Yeah, the All-Star Jam that festivals typically do. Justina got to perform with Brandy Sullivan, and who else was up there with you?
With me, there was the guy from Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia.
That was not Brad.
Brad was with you.
Brad was with me.
It's hilarious.
But yeah, he's one of the pushers.
Yeah.
Out of Norfolk.
Yeah.
Norfolk.
Yeah. I did not say Norfolk the first time.
Norfolk. What'd you say?
Norfolk. I really did. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. I laughed so hard at that because my best friend has a son that when he was a little younger and Uptown Funk was a popular song, he could not say funk. He could only say fuck. And he was singing, Uptown, fuck you up. Uptown. Yeah, so which is compounded even for me more because his father is a speech pathologist and could have fixed that, but instead kept the adorableness of his son saying "Uptown, fuck you up."
That's
okay, so
back to comedy.
Norfolk, Virginia. It is the state of lovers.
But it was a fun jam. Jams are kind of weird for me because everyone's really talented generally, but most people have not played with each other in a jam.
Right, that's the that is the difficulty
the
of a jam.
Brad guy in your group, he played in his jam like he played with all of you all his life.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Really he was really, really funny and just
he makes you look good and he's comfortable performing with you. And if my advice, if you're going to be in a jam and you're playing with people you maybe know, but you've never performed with them before, take that approach.
Yeah.
I'm going to make them look good, and I'm going to be comfortable with them. Because he sat right down, and Nicole from Alchemy was in front of him, and we're playing children, and he just immediately starts playing with her hair, like little kids do. And it was super cute, and it was super funny. I love that choice. I was right next to him. I saw that. That was like the first thing that happened. It's like almost immediate choice that he made. And I was like, that's great. He really just made this world real. And it's because he's a really great performer. What was your feeling of, I mean, other than just like, how did you think you went? Like your approach to doing a jam like that?
My approach was kind of just to, be the star. of the show, you know, and make
yes, because
everyone else forget.
The listeners maybe don't know, you went to college at Charleston, so you performed at Theater 99. That's where you got your start.
I own that theater.
Right, right. You went on that stage and said, Brandy who?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Greg who?
Who's a Greg? Yeah.
I'm Justina.
JK. It was fun. I don't know. I just want to...
JK means just kidding if my dad is listening.
I just wanted to, like, I don't know, when you're around people who've seen you before, you want to do good for them. When you're around people who have not seen you before, you want to do good for them. So,
right.
I don't know. It's pressure, but you just need to, like, shake it off before you even go on stage.
Yeah, I had, like, at least 24 hours of knowing that I was going to be on the show, so I was going through that pressure and anxiety for 24 hours before the show. And you got involved, like, 30 minutes or an hour before the show. Yeah, so actually
that was good for me because
no
pressure.
All you can do in that situation was like, can't think about this pressure.
I know.
You just got to go have fun.
Yeah, and the whole day I got to enjoy myself and not think about the show I had that night.
Right.
I didn't know I had a show that night. So
right, exactly. Whereas I have a show tonight, and all these people are there that I admire, and I don't want to screw up, and I want to look good in front of them, and I want to play well in front of them. And I got to play with some people I've known for a little bit, and I really was thrilled that I got to. Tim, who I mentioned before, he was in my set, and I had not seen him before, but he was someone I instantly liked as a performer. Greg, who, Greg and Brandy, previous episode of the podcast, admire them greatly. Top 5, top 10 people I love in improv. And I got to play with Greg, which I had never done before. And so that was a little nerve-wracking. And I don't normally get nervous.
You've never played with Greg before?
Never.
Oh, okay, cool.
No. Because when he played at New South, I was not on a team that would have gotten in the All-Star Jam yet. So I've talked to him a ton, but and I love him. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. But I had never played with him, and so it was definitely like oh, he's so good, don't screw up, sort of. And I don't get nervous for shows.
Yeah. And
I didn't have that, like, I'm hyperventilating kind of nervous, but it was that anxiety of, like, oof.
Yeah.
I don't want to screw this up. And then I went up and I completely embarrassed myself. No, no, it was fine. And I got to play with my friend Alba, also from Norfolk, one of the pushers. And she's great. She's super fun. And it was just nice being able to, like, connect with energy like that on stage. It reminds me of playing with Meg Pearson.
Yeah.
Because Meg Pearson is just
sweet.
It's like sweet energy is just going to go all out and play with you.
Yeah.
And that is probably my favorite part of doing improv is when somebody is just that wide open and they're making direct eye contact with you and they're saying, oh, I just want to have fun. I'm just giving you fun. And that's one of my favorite things about Meg Pearson, who's one of the Alchemy founders. She just moved to New York City. So we'll get to see her soon. But one of my favorite things about her as a person and as a performer, particularly when I'm in a scene with her, is that without saying a word, she makes eye contact with you and she's like, let's have fun. Like, that's the message received from her always is, let's have fun together. And I always feel like she's just wanting to have fun with me. So I had that same experience making eye contact with Alba. I was like, yay, like, let's just have fun with this. And I think we had a really nice moment with that. So that was a high point for me, being in that show, not making a fool of myself, and getting to share the stage with some amazing people I really admire.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are together. Justina and I are now together with Henry and Maari of the Theater 99. Is that the fair way to say you're of Theater 99? Yeah. And they're in the sketch group that they created called Nameless Numberhead. And also Jason Underwood, also here, and Miley White here, both of the Alchemy Comedy Theater in Greenville. And we traveled down together for this festival. So, hello, everyone.
Hi.
Except for you, Justina. We've already seen each other.
Enough of you.
Ooh.
No more hellos.
Girlfriends.
Are great.
Are great, yes. No, we just aren't usually that cordial with each other. We shake hands and it's very formal in the way that we greet each other.
It's all biz, right?
So what have people, we can start with Henry. and go around. Since Justina have already talked about this, what have you been doing at the festival so far that you've been really in love with and inspired by?
You guys have already talked about Buzz Off Lucille?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
That's the show I saw. That was great.
So
I really
great.
liked it. That had a super fun energy. It was just kind of like a kick in the nuts. It just comes at you. It's great. They definitely riff on a lot of musical theater, which I enjoy. It's fantastic. And also there was just a moment, like, because I didn't know that show. I wasn't sure what I was getting into. So watching it with them in the wigs, and then I went backstage for the jam immediately following that show, and they're all taking off their wigs, and it's like, whoa, you guys look completely different. Like
the tallest one, wild. I didn't get to meet her. I was at the after party, and she was next to me, and I had to do a double take because like, because she looks completely different to me.
Completely different.
For whatever reason.
She had that kind of like fishtail, like pomp thing.
That was the shortest one. The tallest one.
No, like her wig.
Well,
I see what you mean. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm talking about her real hair.
Oh, gotcha.
Which had like this long hair, and I think it's red, and her face looked different to me. Maybe it was a different person.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be a different person.
No, they were great. Anything else you loved?
I'm looking forward to Defiant Thomas Brothers.
Oh, great! They're so great.
I don't think I saw anything. Well, the jams at Redux were a lot of fun. So there was Hims and Hers, which is a Charleston-based improv group, and then Big Dictionary, which is Charleston-based. It's Timmy Finch, John Brennan.
They were fantastic.
That was a super fun show. There was a moment where like Timmy stumbled on this, like, he referenced a real story from his life, and he kind of broke and told that to the audience, like, that actually really happened. And then John ran into the audience as sort of like the person who speaks for the audience. Yes, we want to hear that story, don't we? And then ran further back in the audience and goes, "You don't speak for me!" And so, like, totally interrupted Timmy's story to, like, have an argument with himself in the audience.
That's so funny.
It was brilliant. Yeah, just a really good moment. Like, just fun energy.
Oh, cool. How about you, Mari?
I'm also looking forward to seeing Defiant Thomas Brothers. I didn't get to see them. I was at Redux last night for our show. And yeah, also just to piggyback off that, John Brennan did a really cool show called Writer's Block, where he puts out a story. I'll get closer to the mic. He puts out a story that he casts, and there's dialogue and there's action, but he kind of walks through it, part narrating it, part stage directing it, which I think is awesome. He had earlier this year or last year wrote a stage play that was awesome, kind of Twilight Zone-y, about Charleston Snow Day, and this story he took, which was a little Twilight Zone-y, about the one Charleston parking spot and what happens to you when you get this parking spot and how it changes the course of your life. But yeah, just by having him kind of wander through it was just really different. So I loved seeing that. Awesome. And then it's just cool to have funny people in town. I feel like Charleston doesn't always get the draw, so it kind of took that second to recalibrate, where there was also a music show last night where on any given day we would be like, all right, we do our show, and then we become the audience again where we see a music show and we're like, no, all these people are in town, we get to go hang out and like talk about comedy and stuff. And Henry got to talk to Buzz Off Lucille about touring, which is something that we're trying to get off the ground. So it's hard when we live in a town where everyone feels pretty stationary. So,
and it's such a touristy town that you're in. I mean, Charleston's so touristy, so it can be easy to think like, well, we'll get the people who come to us.
Yeah.
But you really do have to tour.
Right. So, yeah, that being something we're working on, it's super valuable to have the festival come through. Just to kind of re-energize the town and what we're doing and what everybody's doing, to see different stuff.
Awesome. And I'm going to skip Jason and go... No, I'm going to... Jason, what do you do?
Holy moly.
Look, Jason was preparing his answers. I decided I'd say we're skipping you. But what about you?
No, man, I've been having a great time at the Charleston Comedy Festival, and I took a workshop with Tim Stoltenberg of Grandpa. Tell me about the good old days. He's that duo team.
Yeah, we talked about that in the previous segment. Yeah, great show, right?
It was a fantastic show, super fun. It's like such a silly, like fun, like like kind of show to do and to watch. But anyway, like I haven't taken like a comedy workshop in like a long time, just
because you're so good and you don't need
shut up. No.
Oh, you're cheap.
That's it. No. Yeah, that's the reason. But I was like, yeah, let's take one, and Miley took it too, and it was just fun to take it with her, and it's just great to remember, like, oh yeah, you just it's good to still learn, even if it's kind of stuff you've heard. It's good to like you just go over it again and reinforce it, and it was a great time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Miley White.
Yeah, we actually saw Grandpa tell me about the good old days the day before the workshop, and I remember thinking, wow, this guy is really good, Tim Stoltenberg.
Yeah, he is. And
he was really fun to watch, and as an improviser, I was kind of thinking, if I was in his case, in his shoes, would I, oh man, I wish I was that good, and he just came up with his answers so fast with so much detail. And I admire that, because that seems to be something that's kind of hard to do. You have to have a big imagination, and he added a lot to the scene, but it was still all complimenting his partner and taking from the partner. So when we went to the workshop today, I was like, oh, it's this guy, And this is my first comedy festival. I don't know a whole lot of improvisers, so it's kind of fun to meet people and to learn who people are.
Yeah. Because you're used to ours in Greenville, which just feels like being home, and you get to see a couple fun shows. But is your first time traveling?
Yeah, my first comedy festival, and I really like being outside of the city. And there's something about being in a new city too that just kind of inspires your creativity and gets you out of your comfort zone anyway. So it was fun to meet a lot of people in the workshop, and then his workshop was really fun. It was about the first minute of an improv scene, and how really you don't need to bring a huge amount of ideas to a scene. You can just go off of what is already there, which might be a pose or a posture or the way you said a certain word or anything really. So I thought it was really fun.
That's so good.
There's a part where he says, for a fun character, just do your best, worst impression or something. And you guys might have heard this, but like, don't do someone, like if you can do Al Pacino, don't do Al Pacino, but do like I did Paul Giamatti, and it was, I was like...
it was really bad.
It sounded like... It was so bad. It was so bad.
But it was on purpose, He was like, I want you guys to fail, because in failing you succeed.
Yeah, because you do like a fun character with a fun voice and point of view. And
that's actually a bit that Jimmy Fallon and... It was either Jimmy Fallon and Amy Poehler, or Amy Poehler and Fred Armisen would do, where they... Amy Poehler is definitely involved with it. Either way, some comedy nerd would be like, no, it was such and such. But something where you're doing your worst impression. It might even be Rashida Jones, for all I know, and Amy Poehler. But what I mean is, the bit is just doing an impression. Like someone just gives you a name, and even if you're going to be terrible at it, you just go all in and try to do it. And it's so fun.
Yeah.
I can see that being a great... Yeah, exactly. You're like really push yourself to go all out and change everything about you, even if it ends up being like the worst thing ever. And that would be a great fun character.
What was yours, Miley?
Mine was really horrible. It was Will Smith.
Oh my God!
Oh wow!
And nobody knew, of course. Nobody knew really any of our impressions.
We
were trying to do somebody that we were bad at.
Does anyone? Do we want to play that right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go around the circle, and
Let's
the person.
Whisper, I was gonna say whisper something into the other person's ear, and then let them.
Oh, that'd be super fun. Okay. Let's see. Who wants to start with like the whisper? Who already has an idea of someone they could tell the other person?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll tell. I've got one for Miley.
Okay.
Okay.
Great, 'cause I'm going to do the best. Oh my word. All right. Yeah, y'all are going to get this right away. Absolutely certain. And one of the rules was in the workshop you can't say anything that would depict like who this person is. So if they play basketball, you can't be like, I'm gonna go to a game now.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm dribbling down the court, everybody.
Strictly vocal.
Swishing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it's here would be
All right. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you all here listening. And today I'll be showing you how to make a pie.
I know exactly who it is.
I didn't stick to the rules I said, but
You did say two
I
things.
can't think of anything else.
Oh, I think I know.
Who?
Are you Martha Stewart?
Yeah!
So don't do the thing. So you're saying like don't do the things like mention the show and make a pie, but maybe it's like
That was just to show all the listeners what not to do.
oh.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Oh my God.
What am I doing?
I've given Henry 2.
Let's go the other direction.
You got one for
Miley give one to Jason, and then I'll give you some more time to think
Okay,
about it,
alright.
and then you can give me one.
Of all the people.
All the people.
Okay.
All the people.
All right. Here we go. Hey, how about you and me? We go and let's go meet some girls, okay? We're gonna go out, meet some girls, buy some drinks. Oh, it's gonna be great, man. Oh, we're gonna stay out all night long.
I know.
Cheech Marin?
Nope.
Grouch.
The grout?
Like, isn't
Oh,
there like a
Oscar the Grouch?
Oscar the Grouch, yeah.
No.
Okay.
Oscar the Grouch can go out all night long.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
And if you can't see, I'm acting like I'm portly and I'm squat. Yeah. And the point is, you're not gonna get it. That's not gonna happen.
No, I think
Oh, you got it, Justina. What
I
is
got
it?
you. You're obviously the Michelin Man. We never hear him talk.
You never hear him talk.
Martha Stewart.
Let's hear another. Let's hear a little more.
Okay. Okay. I'll be a little more clear with the clues and stuff this time. Oh boy, what a rough day here at the taxi depot.
Danny DeVito.
Is it really you?
That's hilarious.
I know. All right, I got one.
Okay. Oh, that's a long
this
one.
is
Very long
hard.
one.
Did you hear it?
No, it's just
Oh.
like you were there for so long. I don't,
Oh
You don't
God.
need to punch him.
I don't
right
even
now.
think. All right. You see, once everybody comes together, you can really find the definition of what humanity is doing. Another thing about it is, what I was saying is, nobody knows that I'm an actual person. You just see a bunch of gears and things, and you think maybe, see, money isn't what makes a man. It's other things that you need to have as far as education goes.
Nicolas Cage?
It is a Nicolas Cage thing.
Jeff Goldblum?
No. Oh my God.
That's not. I mean,
That's a good guess. Yeah.
I don't know that.
Is he alive or
Yes.
she? Okay.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart.
Is it a male?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't even.
this is such a fun because it's
Yeah.
everything we're doing is so nowhere near right. I don't see how we would get these.
I'm like as soon as you say it, it'll be like,
in
oh
existence.
yes, of course.
See, like it's if it was like a Danny DeVito, I feel like there's a gruffness. I just don't even know.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
I
That's a
feel
hard
like
one.
this guy's just all over the place. So,
All right, do it again, but give clues this time.
I don't even know any of his
You've seen
things.
things that just
I
no.
assure you, I don't.
Well,
even in
okay,
the
so
80s?
not Matthew McConaughey. Have you been in the Navy? Is that what
Spielberg.
Do you want a hint?
There's something about being a billionaire who helps other people in moral dilemmas.
Oh,
And while
Bill
the
Gates?
world needs to be saved, I can't focus on myself. You might think I'm a mess, but it's having the entirety of the
Stark?
world. Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh, Oh no, I
just
see
feel
it.
like,
I totally see
is
it.
he easily
That's some
distracted?
layers.
I feel like he can.
No, he does have a thing of like Jamie Foxx did an impression of him on something. I was like, oh wow, he found the hook because that was
He did it way
it was
better
very.
than you did it just now.
Everyone
Well,
got it,
there's like a
everyone knew.
little. I think the only thing that was missing really is the California-ness about him.
Yeah.
That because like there's a certain like sharper way of him speaking, but you were going for that, and I see that's what made me happy.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
But it was like a really interesting character, even though we didn't know who it was. Like if you brought that character to an improv scene, it'd be like, ooh, that's interesting. That's something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love this idea for starting scenes. All right, you have one for Henry.
Yeah.
Okay. Just go to the grocery store. I'm gonna pick up me some new bananas, and I'm gonna jam on the Graham and Tam. You won't want to catch me with beef. I got beef for days.
Eminem.
Yeah.
I was thinking Fred Durst.
I was thinking Tom
Close.
Cruise
Oh yeah. Well, that's
until you started rapping, and then I was like, definitely Tom Cruise.
Yeah, until you started rapping, I was thinking like Christian Slater or something.
Yeah. I was gonna try to be at the grocery store the whole time, but I could not rap.
Nope. No.
Okay. All right.
The bananas. Mom's pajamas.
I want to know. I want to know what two Justina gave you before that you're like, I don't know who that is.
Maybe she'll give them to you.
Oh, okay, then we'll wait.
he
We'll
doesn't know
wait.
who they are.
I don't.
I don't think so.
All right. Well,
I wouldn't even know.
Henry, you got
to
one
get-
for Justina?
You told me the names, and I wouldn't be able to guess it. But I've got one for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
No cheating.
Okay,
no
great.
cheating.
Okay. I like it. All right. Hey, if you're gonna be out there, then that's fine. But first of all, have a cup of coffee. My gosh, it's the morning time.
I don't know who that is, but keep talking.
Wait, is it Joan Rivers?
Oh man,
It is a-
can you? It's just work for me, and then you come home
Is
and
it
you're
a
just
Muppet?
lazy. No.
Gilbert
Close.
Godfrey.
It's close to a Muppet.
Kathy Lee.
No.
Hold on.
Hold on. Hold up.
Kelly Ripa?
You know, I'm proud of who you are, and I think you work really hard. But your brother, oh my God.
Marge Simpson.
Oh, so good.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Work.
A cup of coffee. I'm proud of you.
The morning
All right.
time.
You went for that. That was great.
Let's see.
That was amazing.
To me. Okay, you are,
What is all this? She's talking like a.
That's a title.
She's like the person that
I'm
was in this movie.
thinking of what they
Give a
sound
character
like.
bio.
Oh.
Okay.
You gotta do it. We all went for it.
Okay. There's only one. There's only one way I know how to do this. Okay. I went out for food today, and I want to get more food today. Can I have some food? Why is everything closed? You're my food. Let me eat you up.
you're not giving it hints.
I'm just
No,
talking.
he didn't need to give hints.
I can't do
Okay,
more.
okay.
But I know the
can't do more
answer.
than I'm doing.
You
You
knew
know
that.
that's
Bono.
It's not. It's not.
That's it.
That's
I
you.
took like
She
5
took
seconds
5 seconds to say
Ed
bye.
Sheeran.
Ariana Grande.
Oh, that's funny.
always
That's funny.
sings.
They're okay. Think her. Just to give a clue. Think like the same
The
kind
world,
of.
the universe.
Yeah. It's in other words. It's not a real person.
I'd like to hear more.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like.
I would like a second
got
verse.
More verses,
about the
more hints.
universe.
I'll do a little more around what I was doing before. But you're my cheeseburger, my lovely cheeseburger.
Oh my gosh, is this Larry the Cucumber?
Yes. I knew she was the one that was gonna get it. I knew she was the one. The only thing I know about VeggieTales is the cheeseburger song. It was like going to get his favorite cheeseburger and they were closed.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I did what I did.
That's a hard one.
It
like
was.
that game.
Thanks for giving me a challenging one.
That's great.
Great job.
So who are the two that you gave Henry?
Dr. Laura Schlesinger, or whatever her name was. Do you remember her on the radio?
Dr.
Oh,
Laura
she's like-
Schlesinger? Yeah.
Oh, let's hear
The
it.
male penis.
That's
Isn't she like all
Dr.
the?
Bruce.
That's not good.
Yeah. Who's that?
She did
Dr.
the
Laura's a
herbal
little
essence
harder, yeah.
commercials.
Dr. Laura, you would only be able to do like a basic radio voice.
Yeah, but she's just like really rude.
Oh, is she?
I thought so.
I didn't
My mom
listen.
loved her, so I don't know. But mom was really rude.
What was the other one?
Okay. The other one was Laura Ingraham. Isn't she that conservative talk show host? And she's
Those are
kinda-
two hard ones.
Those are real hard.
I guess I thought more of Henry.
Hey, who are two Lauras that are on the radio that aren't the people talked about from the radio?
Not really. Dipping into that conservative radio sphere. I've been laying off it these days.
No, yeah, I don't know how I would have approached either of those without just dropping. Oh, I'm in radio and I'm a conservative.
Well, they're like
or
both
I
names
talk
that
about
sound
penises.
familiar, and I'm like, I would not be able to.
Yeah, I don't know what their
they
voices
are.
sound like.
Yeah.
And well enough. They sound like this kind of standard people. So that was a very fun game. Yeah, thanks for doing that, y'all.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you all in the next segment.
Yay!
Well, welcome back to the podcast. The segment, there was a split second break, so I don't know. I said welcome back. Anyway, we're here with friends from Alchemy Comedy Theater, and they're plus ones. Joining us now, Harrison Brookie, Larry Simonson. Your name is Nicole Brown, and Brooke.
McAden. She got married.
McAden.
Your plus one's not here. You're not married. Why
You're
are you
not,
here?
yeah, different area code. And Brooke Johnson and Ben Burris and Justina's of course back. She was the one correcting me, as you've heard her do in previous segments and episodes. So we're just gonna chat about the festival. So we've all been here since Friday. And you haven't heard from everybody who I just mentioned, except for Justina, about their experience. So we can start with Harrison Brookie here about what he thought. You've heard him on a previous episode about what he's experienced so far this weekend and what he's loved and been inspired by.
Yeah, the first show I've seen is one of my favorites. Friday night at Theater 99, we saw a group that we saw in North Carolina at the North Carolina Comedy Festival last year called the Defiant Thomas Brothers.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Just an amazing show. Like, if you gave me like a list of 10 things that seem really hard to write sketches about, that's their whole show. And it's just really, really great, really well written, and really well executed. And we saw them in North Carolina. We saw them in like a much larger venue with kind of a large, kind of packed out finale crowd. This was kind of a much smaller, more intimate crowd, and they still just crushed it. Just really excellent show, really excellent performers. For me, one of the big takeaways from both seeing the shows was you can have great ideas and great concepts and great scripts, but the execution is the key. And they're like, it's all on the table for them.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. Anything from your performances that you feel like you learned, because you've performed twice and tonight?
Yeah. They were really fun. We kind of always think, I tell myself before festival performances, is there's nothing to be earned, and it's just all fun. It's a chance for me to play in front of a crowd. I really liked our Alchemy kind of Local Legends Tour show.
Mm-hmm.
I thought was real strong. And then I did a duo set with Zach Ward, which was weird and fun. And,
Weird? You mean just like there's something weird about the performance, or you just mean the content was weird?
The content was weird, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we at one point used our imagination to talk to imaginary characters who were audience members, who gave us advice.
Who
on
had
how to
already
work
talked
out,
to you.
Who we'd already spoken to get our suggestion. Which I love concept improv, but Zach and I don't perform together a lot. And I know that he is less into that kind of weird concept improv.
And he made the joke of, are we going to imagination or are we breaking the fourth wall?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Which the audience really enjoyed.
And my answer was both, I think. Which was super fun. Yeah.
Let's move over to Larry. Hey. Sexy Larry. What have you felt about shows you've seen, performances?
Actually, funny enough, I took a workshop with the Defiant Thomas Brothers, Paul, I believe. And it was very interesting. They did a solo, essentially solo improv for building a solo sketch set or a solo sketch show. It was actually really interesting, very informative. And it was actually interesting to hear some of their backstory a little bit, which was that they, the two of them, Paul and I do not remember the other guy's name, unfortunately.
His last name is actually, they're not actually brothers.
No, they are not.
But their last names are both actually Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah.
They actually performed together back in Chicago for a sketch show years ago and put together some of their sketch shows they put together years ago, and then they were putting it together for a specific use, and it wound up falling through. And then years later, like 10 years later, they got back together to do this. To like, hey, we should do a sketch show again. And then wound up coming back to a lot of their sketches they had written 10 years ago. And we're like, oh wow, none of these were topical, so they all hold up super well. And it was very interesting to hear kind of the backstory of their group. But if you ever get a chance to talk to them, they're really cool.
They're real nice. I got to speak to them on this trip, but then also briefly in Chapel Hill last year. So
and then tonight we got to perform, which that was a lot of fun.
That was a fun show.
Probably one of my favorite festival shows I've ever been in, for sure. And we got to see Norfolk, Virginia's group perform. They were good. And got to see Chapel Hill's Zach Ward and Emily perform, and they were a lot of fun. And then jam shows were a lot of fun. So
yeah, we got to support people and perform.
This was a good time. This was my first Charleston experience.
Cool.
Really only been to NCCAF and Charlotte's festivals before. This was a lot of fun.
And Nicole, also known as Nicole, formerly Nicole Brown.
Now Nicole McAden.
Or Miss Jackson if you're nasty.
For like a while now.
Yeah, that was years ago.
Like to say like now, it sounds like it was recent. It was not.
I feel like we've been doing a bit this weekend of just like saying your name wrong.
Yeah, that's alright. It's not that hard.
Well, no, it's not that. I just mean like
hard to say it wrong. It's not that hard to get it wrong. Except it is. We've all gotten it wrong.
It's actually taking
I mean,
I
thought people were like jokingly getting it wrong.
I don't think they were.
Oh, I was jokingly getting it wrong, assuming everyone else was jokingly getting it wrong.
You know how to spell Nicole.
Yeah, I definitely put an H in there.
Even though it was on Facebook Messenger, where everyone's name pops up as they say things. So there's like a constant spell check of her occasionally saying
It's actually because Nicole is saved in my phone with the wrong spelling.
That's what we guessed. You were right. We guessed that.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I don't know how it happened.
That's why I have other people put their name into my phone.
I thought this was a comedy trip bit.
But to be fair, if I saved it in my contact wrong, it's because your name is spelled wrong on the spreadsheet, so we should probably...
Oh, that's me. That's on me.
I see that spreadsheet every month.
The contact spreadsheet.
It could have been wrong like 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's totally possible.
It's stuck in his head. So anyway, I'm sorry, Jennifer, if you could... Nikki, I'm sorry. No, what were your thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, Friday night I loved Buzz Off Lucille, which I'm sure has been talked about
Yes,
already.
it has, yeah.
But I
Both
thought
the previous segments?
Yeah, it was a very well-written sketch show to address touchy topics that normally could not be talked about with that amount of humor. So very well done, wonderful. I think that's the only sketch show I've seen this weekend. So it also probably stood out because of how well executed it was.
Very well executed, yeah.
Yeah, it's improv show is great. Did my first jam on Friday night.
Crushed it.
Yeah. That was intimidating, but everybody was so welcoming and so well organized too to get everybody to feel what the structure of the jam would feel like, what your role would be in the jam. So I thought I went on there knowing what to do and then just had to do it. So yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
It's good.
Good. Brooke.
Yeah.
Also, so Larry, Nicole, Brooke, this was their first time performing with the Alchemy team on, like this particular Alchemy team that we're on at a festival, but this is also your first, like you've been on the team for not really even a month.
It's like your third.
Third show.
Yeah, and it was a festival show. So it was a big night for you, I'd say. And you had a great show. How did you feel about it?
It was scary, but Ben Burris gave me a good pep talk today.
Oh.
And promised a big group hug, and then we all did it.
I love that.
What was the pep talk? I want to hear the pep talk.
Pep talk is don't be nervous. We just do raps, hugs, and then we do go out and have fun.
Very accurate
You
description.
literally repeated that during warm-up.
Right,
Is
no.
that the pep talk?
It's
No.
what.
You had to
It's
say it twice for me.
yeah, just keep going through it.
It's new for me, I think, because my secret improv life is pretty separate from my professional life. And so folks came to see the show today, and one was somebody who studied medicine with me, and then my aunt and uncle came. So that was kind of a funny.
She's out of the closet.
Yeah. It's no longer a secret thing. Wow, it's a real thing. No, but it's definitely one of those times I think when whenever you come up against something and you realize you've gotten comfortable with some element of it, but then you're afraid of other parts of it, and I think that's when you kind of check in and you think, wow, I really trust these people. I mean, I'm just gonna get up in this place I don't know and do this thing I don't really feel comfortable doing yet, but it's so fun, I'm gonna do it anyway. But how comforting it is that you all are so like in tune and supportive of each other and have always been of me, and so I thought, if you're gonna have that much positivity around you, just do it. Don't be scared, and then it's fun. Then we step out there and it's fun. So
Very true. Yeah.
And I got to see Harrison do Kid and Play, but I was standing behind, and the view from the back of your dance move was like priceless.
Very close to 90% of it.
Yeah, it was all. So for the listeners, Harrison attempted the Kid and Play. Hold one foot and then jump over
your own bent leg.
Over your leg, and, which they would do back in the 80s. Okay. And he basically got over. He cleared his leg, but then the landing wasn't quite as.
Do it right now on the podcast.
Wait, no,
Maybe down. Do you need this? I don't know
he's-
what you come to.
I mean, we all believe you can do it.
visual part of the podcast.
Very visual part of the podcast.
He almost broke his foot earlier, and he's gonna see if he's.
He did it. No element of that's recorded by the microphone, but
He did it, just like he did it earlier.
The landing was not.
But his landing this time was slightly better.
Slightly.
You didn't have to catch yourself on the ground like you did during the show.
That's true.
But this time you almost went face first into me, so
You didn't get
it was a little better.
Ooh, from everyone watching.
Right.
As a first time visitor to Theater 99, I'm so impressed with their like genuine hospitality. I think there's so much more for the people who are in the community here.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you commenting they're a lot better in Alchemy. No, I'm kidding.
we're real cold.
That's a huge part of like the host city and host players' responsibility is they're not going to meet Greg and Brandy who run the festival. It's like, or they are. It's very brief, but they're going to meet all the other apparatus, the other people. That's huge. Yeah, very
the
kind.
idea of the other players being representatives of the theater.
Totally.
Next up, Ben Burris.
That's me. I also saw Buzz Off Lucille. I was telling somebody, I believe it was on you, Andy, earlier. Festivals in general, festivals are like Christmas in that the worst way you can try to approach a festival is trying to approach it in such a way that you have the same magic you had at a previous festival.
Oh, wow.
Like the worst way to do Christmas is I just want to do everything I did as a kid so that I have the same magic I had as a kid. Like it's never going to work because as a kid you weren't like, I'm going to try to recreate my 4-year-old Christmas as a 5-year-old. And festivals are the same way. Like, the best way to enjoy a festival is enjoy it for what it is. For instance, this is the one where like it rained the entire time.
Yeah.
But like you enjoy it for the different things that happen, or the different things that you specifically get out of it, and know that not everybody is experiencing it the same way that you are. I saw Buzz Off Lucille and they were great. I saw Tell Me About It Grandpa and they were great. But like there have been festivals where it felt like 100 shows, and I feel like I saw like 6 shows this time, and that's not good or bad. It's just like a different experience, and it was super fun. I had a great time. But I've been to like so many shows and so many festivals and things that like you go through a phase where you're like, the first time you go to like every festival, it's like improv festivals are the best thing I've ever been to, and then like shortly after that you're like, oh, this one wasn't as fun as it was the previous time, but it's fine. Like I'll learn through it, and I eventually go to so many festivals. It was like, this was a weekend trip that I had that was also super fun, and you get like back through it.
I guess it'd be like you're performing with your team back home.
Totally right. Yeah, it almost starts feeling more like a tour show. You get less excited about seeing other people as much as it is like spending extra time with the people that you spend time with all the time, chit chatting and talking about stuff and seeing people like kind of outside their normal, which is always like the most fun. Like doing all-star shows or all-star jams is always fun too. Like playing with other players that you may or may not know. But yeah, it's like having a fun show is always the best part of a fun time.
And like also like I've enjoyed just seeing people that I don't necessarily get to see as often as I'd like.
Definitely, yeah. You get to a point where like I used to say all the time, festival friends are the best of all friends. It's like the people you see only when you are both at a point where you're like, I'm having a fun, crazy weekend away from home where I get to do a bunch of improv and talk about improv all the time, and also like hang out with other improvisers. And it's like that's like a fun like energy you can have one or two times a year.
It's like summer camp as an adult.
Right? Yeah. Summer camp, but it's only a weekend, and also you can pay money to drink. Right.
The plus ones in the room who didn't perform, you were at shows. What did you feel? I know, Lauren, I don't know if this was your first. So it was your first.
Yeah, it was.
And how did you feel coming to, support your mate?
Yeah, well, he kind of sold it to me that it was going to be like also significant others, and that it wasn't going to be only improvisers and like the whole troupe of people, just like bits on 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 bits, and it wasn't like that. It was just kind of like hanging out, and that's an energy that I like about Local Legends is that it is there are bits, but it doesn't feel like I'm not in on some sort of inside joke. It feels like I'm a part of whatever joke is happening.
Right.
And that was fun. Like I only went to 2 shows, but it was still a lot of fun to be able to see different types of, because I haven't seen Alchemy's sketch stuff, so I got to see the Defiant Thomas Brothers, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed like their little songs that they had that were like inappropriate bits, and if you weren't listening and you were just like, this is a fun tune, but if you listen to the words, you're like, that is offensive. I really enjoyed that. I like overt being offensive, just because you can't be like that in your everyday life.
Right.
And I really enjoyed the ghost stories that reminded me of being like in Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
When I was younger, and we would there's like this one girl at Girl Scouts that would always tell like the best ghost stories. It makes me worried about my own Local Legends because I start stories in the middle and then they tell the beginning and then I tell the end. So hopefully that lowers expectations. It was fun.
She's referencing Local Legends is the team that we who were performing here on this trip were on, back in. Someone tried to come in the room.
That was the elevator we're all in just shook. We've been.
Oh, thank God! It's still help.
But this touring team, our team back home, is Local Legends. Andy, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Oh, I think you guys have covered it fun weekend.
Yeah.
Brooke said, we're going down, all these great people. We get a hotel room and my dad's going to watch the kids. I was like, I'm in.
Because I just don't know the perspective as the spouse coming to these. I've only come as a performer. I've only been to any festival as a performer. So it's a new...
I definitely thought of it as like every festival I've been to has been NCCAF, where it is a bunch of improvisers and no significant others.
Right.
I'm a little nervous to bring Lauren to a festival because all I had in mind was previous Christmases. I'm like, oh man, my family's kind of crazy. I don't know if I should really bring you around the family for Christmas, but I'm forced to because we're married now.
Crazy Uncle Ben.
And no, it was really good.
Well, a nice thing about something like this as opposed to like if Brooke was into like a Star Trek convention and we would go and they're just all talking about Trekkie stuff. This is actually
this is
right.
Right.
Yeah, we're all just hanging out and getting.
It's like the unaccessible thing is our bits, but the reason we're here for shows, and you can enjoy a show. Exactly. But at a Star Trek convention, the show is talking about Star Trek. Right. So if you don't like Star Trek, it's like, all right, well,
the difference of being a plus one versus Brooke, who's all into it, she can watch the shows all day long. I'll go to 2, I'm good. Yeah. I'll go back to the room. But everything is accessible. I really have a genuinely good time watching the shows, hanging out with everybody. It's really nice.
We love having you here. Does baby Brookie, James Brookie, have anything to say?
Oh my God, that kid is passed.
Baby James.
What kind of noise?
He definitely got a good miracle on that.
Wow, he said that's. I don't think you could say that sort of stuff on my podcast. Very offensive. Thank you so much, all of you, for being friends and performing.
We're tired.
Fun times. I had a great time chatting and hanging out with everyone, but also performing with everyone and getting to see the fun shows that we got to see together. It was a really great trip for me. I actually used that game that we did in the second segment, that do an impression game. I used that for a scene in our show on Saturday night, and I just want to let you listeners know I think it's a really great trick. I did an impression, my best worst impression of Matthew McConaughey, and it made for a fun scene. It's a nice little trick. It's something where obviously you want to create a point of view for your character. You don't want to make it who you're doing an impression of, but it's fun. It really gives you something to do. So try it sometime. A big thank you to everyone who was on today's episode. Justina, Jason, Miley, Henry, Mari, Larry and Lauren, Brooke and Andy, Ben, Nicole, and the Brookies. Thank you so much for being on. We had a blast in Charleston. I want to say thank you to the city of Charleston and to Theater 99 for having us down for the fest. A big thanks to everyone who put that together. The people at Theater 99, Brandy, Greg, thank you all. And a big hello to all of our friends that we got to see down there. Hello, Betsy, Jason, the Buzz Off's Lucille crew. So many of you. We love you. Everyone, it was just so great to see you. And also a shout out to our tech guy from Saturday night, Josh. He said he listens to the podcast right before the show. So thanks for listening, Josh, and for teching. You did a great job. If you listeners want to say that you listen, hit me up online at There It Is Pod on Facebook and Twitter. And you can go to thereitispod.com for old blogs and more episodes. If you have theiritis, which I am not sure if Josh has theiritis, I couldn't quite tell his condition, but if you have theiritis, there is no cure for theiritis, I'm sorry. But there is a foundation that can help to bring you more episodes of There It Is. It's the Theiritis Foundation. You can support us. Just go to the website. Well, that's it for another episode of the podcast. Thank you for listening. I have 2 fun episodes coming up, so check us out. The next one is with Henry and Mari, so if you loved hanging with them today, listening to us goof around, check them out next week. Until next time, be good to each other.
The music for the theme song was created by Neil Brooks. The rap was written and performed by Nick Acevedo. The logo for There It Is was created by Jeff Crater. The There It Is podcast is produced by Jason Farr.